In Phase 1, you'll choose a programming language and an automation technology. I will suggest starting with Java or Python, as you'll find many learning resources on the web for these languages that will make things easier for you. The scope of learning a programming language could be a little wider for a programmer, but as a test automation developer, you can limit your efforts to learn the core parts only. Remember, just watching any course or reading a programming book is not enough. You should put your theoretical knowledge into practice. You will be able to understand and write good code only when you try to write and refactor it yourself. You can start from online courses that are free or not so expensive. Such training courses will show you the fundamentals of coding. No matter what language you use to write your test scripts, it should not be a barrier for you to learn automation testing, as the basic concept is same for all languages, just the coding syntax changes. Firstly, start with the language and then you can extend it to others as per your requirements and keep going. These are a few recommended resources to learn programming. Free Programming Books is a GitHub repository with lists of books, courses, podcasts, and other free resources about programming and related topics. In Class Central, you can find a list of 250 free online video courses from universities such as Stanford, MIT, Princeton, and many more. Once you have chosen a programming language, the other thing you need to choose in Phase 1 is a tool that can give a real shape to your test automation plans. We have selected some popular automation tools for you. Unified Functional Testing, formerly known as HPQTP, is a well-known commercial testing tool for functional and regression testing. It provides a comprehensive feature set for API, web services, and GUI testing of desktop, web, and mobile applications. It uses VB-script to specify test procedures. Selenium is a popular open-source tool used for automating web applications and supports cross-browser testing. Water, that stands for Web Application Testing in Ruby, is another open-source tool with Ruby libraries to automate web browsers. It supports cross-browser testing, data-driven testing, and also integrates with BDD tools like RSpec and Cucumber. Catalan Studio is a free and powerful test automation solution for web applications, mobile, and web services testing. This tool is built on top of the Selenium and Appium framework and takes advantage of these solutions for integrated software automation. Protractor is another end-to-end test framework for Angular and AngularJS applications. Apache JMeter is an open-source load testing tool and supports all platforms. It analyzes overall performance under different load conditions on a server. If you are interested in testing web services or API, then there are multiple tools present in the market. For example, SoapUI, SOATest, Rest Assured, Postman, JMocket, and WireMock. As you are just starting your automation learning journey, I would suggest using Selenium WebDriver. It is widely used in today's market for testing all kinds of web applications. You'll find a large number of learning resources and numerous forums to get support if you get stuck somewhere while exploring Selenium. The time required to learn Selenium is from 1 week to a month. You can also start with Selenium IDE. It is a great tool for complete beginners to have an idea about Selenium. Users can record their clicks on web pages and then play back their recorded actions. While using capture or playback tools like Selenium IDE, it usually takes less than a day to hear the most repeated phrase, "It worked when I recorded it, but now it fails when I play it back." Most importantly, such tests are very brittle. An enhancement to the system can easily end up breaking such tests, which then have to be re-recorded. It's okay to use record or playback just to experiment, learn, and see how things are going. But when you are writing real tests, set such tools aside, please. While choosing an automation tool, you should also look for parameters like customization, multi-platform support, parallel execution, reporting, and cross-browser capabilities. Some other tools you need to explore include test bench tools like Jira and Zephyr, version control systems like Git, GitHub, or Bitbucket, and unit testing frameworks like GUnit or TestNG. We'll learn more about version control systems in our upcoming lectures. You can visit sites like Selenium HQ, Software Testing Help, Guru99, or Tools QA to learn and explore more about Selenium Basic. Once you have acquired the right set of tools, next you need to define your test automation strategy. You need to identify the scenarios where you can add value by automating the task. Acceptance, regression, and end-to-end scenarios are good candidates for automated testing. Whatever tests you would automate during acceptance testing also become part of the regression test suite. It will result in increased coverage and ensure the feature being tested also during the regression cycles. One of the core qualities of a successful test developer is to track the progress of test coverage. To do so, you can prepare a test coverage metric document and update it continuously. Get a deeper understanding of the DevOps and Agile methodologies. Dev means development and Ops means operations, together which are the union of people, process, and products to enable continuous delivery of value to end users. Essential DevOps practices include agile planning, continuous integration, and continuous delivery. Learning these methodologies allows your teams to pay close attention to phase-wise development and continuous releases. Continuous integration, or CI, is the process of automating the build and testing of code every time a team member commits changes to version control system. A continuous integration tool helps in setting up the test automation jobs that can be triggered after each check-in by the developer, at a scheduled time, or on a demand basis. A good test automation developer should know how to configure the CI tool to scale the test automation capabilities. Maven is used to manage information about all the libraries that are required to compile and build the application. Jenkins is one of the most used CI tools used for dynamic builds while using Maven as dependency manager. DevOps.com, Visual Studio documentation about DevOps, and the book, A Practical Guide to Testing in DevOps by Katrina Clokey, are few good resources if you want to learn more about these concepts. In Phase 4, you should start exploring concepts like ATDD, also known as Acceptance Test Driven Development, BDD, also known as Behavior Driven Development, and TDD, also known as Test Driven Development. Using these practices, testing can be started even before source code exists. All these processes help developers and testers in understanding the customer's needs prior to the implementation and allows customers to communicate with IT in their own domain language. While using BDD methodology, you have a choice to select tools like Cucumber, JBehave, or Serenity BDD. I would suggest starting your exploration using Cucumber. Dan North and Associates, Tools QA, and the books BDD in Action and the Cucumber book are a few good resources if you want to learn more about BDD. In Phase 5, you should start learning about web services and APIs and technologies like XML, JSON, SOAP, and start exploring some tools that helps perform API and web services automation. Test automation was traditionally thought as something only for regression, but now it has moved beyond regression testing. Automating checks at the API layer are less expensive, provide faster feedback, and are less brittle. Test automation developers usually use Groovy or Scala that are programming languages, and both have some built-in support for XML and JSON and provide various ways for building web services. If you want to learn more about web services testing, I would suggest checking out open source workshops that are generously shared by Bass on his site on testautomation.com. Are you interested in testing cutting-edge mobile apps and devices? If so, in Phase 6, you can start learning about mobile applications automation. By automating mobile applications and running test scripts across a variety of device types, you can save a huge amount of time. Also start exploring Apple devices and technologies like iOS, Xcode, and Swift. Some of the commonly used tools for mobile automation are Appium, Robotium, Espresso, XCUI Test, Perfecto, and C-Test. I would suggest starting your learning by exploring Appium, which is an open-source automation framework for use with native, hybrid, and mobile apps. If you want to understand the concepts behind mobile automation for iOS devices, I would suggest checking out our SlideShare presentation named Mobile App Automation on iOS platform. There is a thin line between an average and a successful test automation developer. If you want to be a successful automation professional, you need to learn about test automation frameworks. Test automation framework is an execution environment for your automated tests. You can design your own automation framework or use any of the open source frameworks that are available in the market. You should find out the areas requiring improvement in your framework and allocate some time for continuous improvement activities. Also, analyze your test infrastructure and see what can be done to improve it. And here comes the mind map with the tools and technologies we discussed in our previous lectures. There is no one-size-fits-all type of tool for automated testing. It is highly recommended that you, as an automation developer, evaluate various tools to select what would best meet your own application's automated testing needs.